Good morning, saints. Oh, come on, y'all can do better than that. You could be in a hospital bed somewhere. It is again a wonderful privilege to preach and to share with this community. And I do want to thank the worship team for the wonderful planning and the freedom to work with this text. And thank you for being here. And also ask your prayers as the message is not finished. It's written, but it's not finished. So I want to ask your prayer right now, if you just join with me. And so, God, we know that in all things, you do things well. And so we thank you for the privilege of worship. We thank you for the privilege of this community. We thank you for the fact that each Wednesday we gather around table, around word, around music, around fellowship to encourage and lift our hearts and our spirits. We bless you for CTS. We thank you for our leadership. We thank you for the students, for the faculty, for the staff, trustees, each and every person that makes possible Christian Theological Seminary. We ask now that this would be the preaching moment. For if you don't speak, there's nothing the preacher can say. If you don't move, there's nothing the preacher can do. If you don't anoint, the preacher is all by the preacher's self. You get the glory. What we're after is a blessing. And we thank you in Christ's name. And if you agree with this prayer, let me hear you say amen. Thank you so much. Our text is found in the Gospel of Matthew in the 28th through the 30th verse, and it reads as such. Come unto me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. In January, I was playing basketball as a part of my normal and regular workout routine. And when I woke up after this particular morning, my entire bottom self was swollen. Having been active and working out in sports for almost all of my life, I know how to finesse an injury. I know how to ice it, and 48 hours, put heat, and you wait. And even though I did all of that, it got no better. I ended up going to the doctor, and they gave me 5 days of prednisone. Then they gave me some muscle relaxers, and that didn't work either. It started a long, circuitous, and difficult route of pain, doctors, pills, neurosurgeons, chiropractors, acupuncturists, and I could name even few more that I saw. Almost 8 months later, without any basic relief, I was on my way to a consultation for back surgery. I decided that if anybody was going to cut on me, it was going to be the number 1 hospital or the number 2 hospital in this country, either the Mayo Clinic or the Cleveland Clinic, and as such, went to the Cleveland Clinic and received a shocking and radical diagnosis. It turned out that I had been misdiagnosed for 8 months. It was not a spinal problem at all, and I was nowhere in need of back surgery. As they diagnosed the situation, they said to me that surgery would probably not do me any good. They told me that drugs and injections would probably have the same effect. I had something called a hamstring issue at the tendon of the hamstring, plus something called pelvic floor. I never heard of pelvic floor, but they told me that my main issue was tension, anxiety, emotional worry, fear, protective guarding, and unconscious holding. You know what? You know what? You ahead of me. Would you let me get to that? That pelvic floor issues cannot be healed, usually, with surgery or drugs or injections. They have to do with tension, anxiety, emotional worry, fear, protective guarding, and unconscious holding. God then, it occurred to me, had boxed me in. There was only one thing that could help me heal. Less stress, more rest, or as the doctor said, easy. The only way that I could be healed was to try easy. Because basically I was so relieved not to have needed back surgery, and I said, no problem, easy, I got this. I decided to try easy. After several weeks, I discovered that easy is not that easy. The word try comes from the 15th century Anglo-French word, which means to subject to some strain of patience or endurance. That it is impossible to strain to relax. How you gonna do easy if you have to strain? I discovered that I was working way too hard at easy and adding more stress and not helping myself at all. At 2:00 a.m., one particularly frustrating morning in my pain and despair, I picked up this text in Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I decided, though I had heard this text all through my Christian life, to explore what Jesus offered as easy in this text. As I was preparing, reflecting on what Jesus meant by easy in this text, I thought that almost everyone I know, not all of the people I know, but almost everyone that I know that's working for God in church or seminary or in the community in some aspect is overworked, overstressed, far too busy, and some even on the verge of giving up ministry, and students who are not able to do all the reading in the classes. We heard a rumor yesterday as faculty that y'all are doing the modern version of Cliff Notes. Oh, no. Is this microphone on? It got quiet in here. Overworked. With all this going on, and we're working for Jesus, and Jesus is offering easy, where's the breakdown? Well, let's see what in the world Jesus is talking about in this text. In verse 28, come unto me, all you who are weary, who are labored. This is the old version, I love it. Who labor and are heavy laden and burdened, I'll give you rest. And when I read this text, I was off to a good start. I love that first part, come unto me. I particularly love that because I've been to chiropractors, I've been to neurosurgeons, I've been to acupuncturists, I've been to hospitals, I've been to MRIs. Come unto me. I love that part. I got comfort just from God saying, Jesus saying in his text, come unto me. In my desperate attempts to heal, anointing myself with oil, praying for my own healing, asking others to pray for me in my healing, giving God timelines on my healing. I realized that I had not really come to him. I came for a quick fix and pain relief, but I had not come unto him. There is so much comfort. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. The word labor describes in this text, if you look at the Greek, the most wearisome and the hardest kind of labor. This is a person who is giving everything they have to a project, an assignment, or a paper. One researcher said he or she is striving, laboring, and working with every fiber of their being, laboring under a load without pause for a very long time. The work has been wearisome, exhausting, and unending. And for everybody who feels like that, you have somewhere to come to. Come unto me. Jesus says, come unto me, all ye that are laboring, and you're heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The Greek in the text means to rest, to relax, to calm down, to refresh. The root of the word is where we get the word pause. To stop for a minute, to pause, to cease, to desist, to refrain, to have a break, to have a hiatus, a lull, an interval, an interruption, or to take time to get away from something or some responsibility, to have a Sabbath, a sabbatical, a vacation, a staycation. Come unto me, all ye that labor, and I will give you a pause. I will give you a breather. I will give you a break. I will give you a hiatus. I will give you a lull. I'll give you an interval. I'll give you an interruption. I'll give you a Sabbath. Come unto me, all ye that are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. In verse 29, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you'll find rest for your soul. Of course, the backdrop, as we have so many fine biblical professors who probably taught you that in Jewish history and tradition, men and women are invited to take on the yoke of studying Torah. That in Jewish tradition, taking on the yoke of studying Torah gets one acceptance and rest. One of the highest honors in Jewish culture is to become a rabbi and study Torah. It was an honor to take upon oneself the yoke of studying Torah. One could find joy and acceptance and peace in studying Torah. Jesus says, take up my Torah, take up my yoke. Study me and you'll find rest. Study me, hang out with me. For I am gentle and humble of heart. I am meek and lowly of heart, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Of course, you know, because you're biblical scholars, that the Pharisees put heavy loads on the shoulders of people. Legalism, rules, and regulations. The Pharisees represent the zealousness of religious leadership in the human spirit that is in every age, in every time, and in some way in every religion. These leaders believed that the way to please God and make it to heaven was by meticulously following a long list of religious rules and regulations. Here's a very quick breakdown. It's very quick because you already know this, given our outstanding biblical studies department. There was the Mosaic Law, the law that God gave through Moses, the 10 Commandments. These are actually not just 10, they're a total of 613. How about the Midrash? While following the 613 commandments would be hard enough, over time, Jewish leaders began to slowly add to these laws in the Midrash. This additional teaching is basically an ongoing compilation of sermons and sayings by Jewish rabbis meant to interpret the original Mosaic Law. The original intent, because you already know this, of these additions was to clarify the law, but it ended up adding many layers of regulation. This Midrash was already lengthy in Jesus' day and continues to grow even to this day. So for the Pharisees, they not only tried to follow 613 commandments of the Mosaic Law, but literally thousands of new commandments that were created to clarify the original 613. For example, in the Mosaic Law, one of the commandments is to keep the Sabbath holy, which means that Jews were not supposed to work on Saturday. But to clarify this, the Jewish scholars created 39 separate categories of what work means, and within those 39 categories, there are many subcategories. So to follow the rule of not working on the Sabbath, there are literally thousands of sub-rules to follow, including how many steps you can take, how many letters you can write. You understand that Jesus got fed up with this in Matthew 23, 1-4 said this. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you, but don't do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. In contradistinction to all of this, Jesus says his yoke is easy. I won't quote the Greek word. I'm sure you all know it by heart, but let me tell you what it means. It means pleasurable, delightful, or comfortable. This means it's a delight to work for the Lord. It's pleasurable to work for the Lord. Remember a time in your life when you felt peaceful and happy at whenever it was? For some of us, that's before we got involved in the church. I know I'm being... Before we became a pastor, professor, interim president, dean, student. In those times, there is no stress or trace of strain, tension. Those times feel easy. Jesus says, take my yoke, for it is easy, pleasurable. Then the word light, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Describing something, I don't know about you, but I experience it as heavy sometimes. Jesus describes it as light, describing something that's not burdensome, but light or easy. One author said it this way, I can tell you from personal experience, what was once hard, wearisome, and troubling because you were doing it all alone became pleasurable and lighter when you are partners with Jesus. The bottom line of this text is this: Jesus will give you the rest that you need to be refreshed on the journey. This does not mean that Jesus will take the burden away. It means that he will help provide to you the refreshment that you need to continue and conclude the journey. This is the promise. The load and the burden and the weight is still yours. The strain is still yours. But you don't have to carry it in the way that you carry it. You can carry it in such a way that it's light. Jesus says, I'll give you the rest that you need. I'll give you hiatus. I'll give you sabbatical. I'll give you a vacation. I'll give you a staycation. Which brings me to the deepest place, at least in my life. This is true, and I wonder if it's true in yours. Few of us have ever completely devoted ourselves to our own care. I mean, here's Jesus offering it, but you have to accept it. Jesus is offering it, but you have to accept it. So few of us have ever completely devoted ourselves to our own care. Oh, I know we got the lip service. I know we got the head knowledge. I know that we need to take a vacation. We need to take a break. I know we got the head. We should stop now. We've been working since, 4 a.m. this morning. Now it's 7 p.m. We should quit. We know it up here, but somehow it doesn't get to our hearts. We take classes, and these brilliant professors we have around here explain self-care. They explain how you take care of yourself, explain you should get some rest, do a wonderful job. I think we're just brilliant in how we explain it. Bill brought me in his class one time to explain. I thought I was poignant. I was dynamic. One author said it this way: we treat ourselves the way that our parents have treated us. And for most of us, few of our parents have had the time or the energy or the emotional balance and the wisdom to be unconditional with us. Most of us want unconditional love. But how many of us have been unconditional with ourselves? Most of us wish for a friend to accept us unconditionally. Rest is the practice of accepting yourself unconditionally and becoming your own best friend. Can I be a friend to myself? Can I treat myself with patience, with kindness, with non-judgment and devotion? Even though I'm in a struggle, do I have compassion for my own struggle? Everybody in here got a struggle. Mostly silent and invisible. But everybody in here has their own struggle. Do I have compassion on my own struggle? I read this, author said, this is my with Jesus, you are the doctor you've been waiting for. When you take up the yoke of Jesus, you are the doctor you've been waiting for. So I decided to take Jesus up, and so because I have made what I call it, I'm completely devoted myself to my own care. I made some changes. I took my diet up another level. I committed that I'd never write a book in 6 months ever again in life. I decided that I'd take afternoon naps. Anybody know me, you liable to get an email from me at 5 a.m., 5:30, 4 a.m., like Ron Allen style, that kind of thing. Now, after 2:30, you liable not to hear from me. Go home and take a nap. Change my diet. You know what else I did? I upped my gratitude. Told people around me more thank you and more generosity, more kindness, more appreciation, more generosity with my own self. You know what I did? I upped my prayer life, my devotional life, meditation, yoga. Sometimes when I go home from my afternoon nap, I have 30 minutes of relaxation time. I'll lay flat, do deep breathing, and try not to fall asleep. I'm supposed to be focusing, to get and I got this book of meditation practice. You're supposed to focus on the sensation and just feel, and all of a sudden, the little thing go off of my arm, and I slept for 29 minutes, right? What can I say? How about this, you all? I will not allow I will not allow anything or anyone, including myself, to make me rush. I personally am of the crowd that if the plane leaves at 1, I know exactly how far it is or how long it takes to get from the airport to my house. I know when they stop taking luggage. My wife, who many of y'all know, is the complete opposite. She's a 2.5-hour woman. Get there early, just wait. I'm like, what are we waiting on? The plane ain't leaving for nothing. So I schedule, of course, right up to the last minute, and I'm rushing. I got 15 minutes to get because they stopped taking the luggage in 15 minutes, and guess what? There's something on the expressway on the thing that's blocking me up, and I'm pressing my horn and calling people ugly names. My pressure's worked up. Try easy. Go with the wisdom of your 2.5-hour wife. I will not schedule myself into exhaustion. Hurry sickness, giving too much, too often, in too short a period of time. So my question for you is, have you committed and fully devoted yourself to your own care? The issue is not what Jesus is offering. The issue is our ability to accept it. The issue is, are you too busy? Do you schedule yourself into exhaustion? Did you get a ticket driving while texting? When was the last time your devotional life flowered? When was the last time you said, please, or may I, or thank you? So I want to end this message with the potential and the possibility that there may be a need for repentance in the room. I can't speak for anybody else. And I wondered if I, in just a moment, could invite all of the people who wanted to, could we make this like rug and altar? And I used to say when I was a pastor, there are three things you should not do. You shouldn't lie to your pastor, first of all. You shouldn't lie to your attorney. And you should not lie to God. And the sanctuary and the altar was a place where we could be honest before God. So I don't know, I might be in here by myself, but I'm going to make this carpet available for whoever would like to come. And we're going to have a word of prayer. I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm just going to ask you to be honest. And I want you to respond to this question. Have you fully and completely devoted yourself to your own care, to being your own best friend, to being the doctor you've been waiting for? So we're going to play some music, and it's coming as I'm speaking. And if that's you, and you like whatever level of honesty, you can tell God, whatever. I just want to make this space. So I'm going to try to pull this pulpit back because I think so many of y'all are coming. They're going, just joking. I invite you to come if you would. If you heard God today. Yeah, y'all can come. Just come. It won't get everybody on the rug. If you heard God today, y'all can come on. Y'all come on. Let's make room. Let's get everybody. So in your own way, before we have a corporate prayer, in your own way, tell God whatever you want to tell God. We've prayed individually, and yet we come collectively. First, God, I want to thank you for the dedication of all these hands around this table. I thank you for the many hours of administration, the many hours of study. I thank you for the many hours of preparation for teaching. I thank you for the letters that go out, for the appointments that get made. I thank you, God, that there's so much being done, not only in this building and for CTS, but even out in the church. Some of us are pastors and professors. And so, God, I commend and I thank you for our work and our dedication. It's a beautiful thing. But we ask for your grace and mercy to teach us how to rest. We ask for, God, that we would take your promise up, that your yoke is easy and your burden is light. God, I thank you for the person whose hand I'm holding right now. Thank you for my co-laborer. Thank you for their dedication. Thank you for what they bring to the table. I pray joy in their life right now, healing in their life right now, a new commitment to self-care in their life right now. May we as a school learn how to do Sabbath. We've got appointments and meetings and this and that, and all those are important. But for everybody in here who are around this altar, God, we want to take you up on it. We want to take you up. God, I'm going to rest. I'll still get things done. I'm not going to hurry myself into a frenzy. I'm not going to overschedule myself. I'm going to have meditation, yoga, devotion. I'm going to tell everybody thank you for every act of kindness. And so, God, this is our prayer. We thank you for it. I don't know about anybody else, God, but I'm better by just having this worship experience. I've been made better. And God, I thank you for it. And as a sign of our community, before you leave this altar, I want you to hug at least 5 people. And I want you to encourage somebody and speak well to somebody and bless somebody. It's in the name of Jesus that we pray. And we say amen.